In any plot, some events are more important than others, and we infer their relative significance through the director's selective arrangement. In other words, some events are more important than other events. The important events we will call hubs. The less important events we will call satellites. Hubs are major events or branching points in the plot structure that force characters to choose between or among alternate paths. Satellites are minor plot events that add texture and complexity to characters and events, but are not essential elements within the narrative. Here's an example from the film The Kid. Charlie Chaplin's character, the tramp, runs across this abandoned baby. There's a decision he has to make. Do I take care of the baby myself, or do I try to get rid of it? He decides to take care of the baby. That decision is a major event in the story. That is why it's a hub. In that same story, we meet the biological mother later on in life, about 4 years later. We see her at a party, and we see her meet, once again, the biological father of her child. You see, they hooked up early on, and, well, she got pregnant and had a baby, but she couldn't afford it. But we see the development of the relationship between the artist, the father, and the actress, the mother. Nothing else comes out of that relationship that we see, but it gives us a little bit more insight as to what's going on outside of the world of the tramp and the kid. In Star Wars IV: A New Hope, we are introduced to our main character, Luke Skywalker, and we see that he leads a pretty mundane life. But one moment, he finds a hidden message from Princess Leia. She needs help. There's a decision that he has to make. Do I ignore the message, erase the memory, and live on? Or do I go save her? He decides to go save her. That is a major moment in the storyline. Therefore, it's called a hub. A little bit later on in the story, he needs to get off the planet, so he goes to the local bar to find somebody that has a spaceship to get him off the planet. Before he meets Han Solo, we meet Han Solo, and we meet him while he's having a conversation with this bounty hunter, Greedo. During their discussion, we see who Han Solo is, what type of character he is, and what his values are. Well, that discussion ends up in a shootout, and that part of the story is over. It doesn't really involve Luke's quest to save Leia, per se, but it does give us some insight as to some of the characters that are going to help Luke along the way. Therefore, that moment, the shootout with Greedo, is a satellite.